Hi, here I am on this beautiful 13 in Mosh morning in front of the lake, and today I'm going to be talking about the Trecena of Iq. So, what does it hold in store for us? What's it all about? Well, Iq, the wind. Thankfully, we haven't got any this morning. It's very, very still here. The air is clean and fresh after the recent rains. And I would suppose that one of the things that I associate primarily with the Trecena of Iq is about a breath of fresh air. It's about new communication, the beginning of communication. It's also about the beginning of changes. Now, changes, right? There'd be no life without change. There'd be no life without air. There'd be no life without the wind. And here in Guatemala, we very, very clearly see the relationship between wind, life, and change. The wind in October time brings the cool, dry air down from Mexico and brings us dry season from November through to about March, April time. And then in April, it swings around to the Pacific and brings us in the wet air, which is the growing season from April, May through to around about October or so when the maize is grown. So the wind changes, it brings the rain or the dry, it brings the life of the maize or the harvest. And we see it in the hills right now, as you can see, this vibrant green behind me, all of this vegetation is here simply because of the rain, which is brought by the wind. And you've seen previous videos where, well, certainly up on the hill back there, everything goes yellow because it's dry season. There's no rain, there's no life. And so, as I say, when we take it back, this is all because of the wind, and it's the changes that the wind brings. So the wind brings life, the wind brings new life. And this is something that we can expect during the Trecena of Iq. So we're going to begin with one Iq, of course. One Iq, one representing novelty, representing something new coming in. The beginning of something, the seed of something, something which could need a little encouragement to grow, but a beginning, a new thing. And what is it combined with? Iq, communication and change. So it could be the beginning of a change. Maybe you've been looking to change your life in some way. I mean, most of us are. And of course, there's kind of like everything is going to be changing on a daily basis anyway. But if you've been lining up or planning some big change, this might be the day or the Trecena in which to begin to implement it. Also, if you've been beginning to think about some kind of new communication to get something that you need out there, to communicate something that needs to be said, then one Iq begins this potential. It's a time, maybe you haven't got all the words yet. Maybe there's still some work to do on whatever it is that you need to get out there. But this is a great time to start that process, to put those seeds out. The one I also look at as, it needs the fertilizer. It needs the rain, right? It needs the sunlight in order to grow that little seed. And so maybe there's something where you've got something to say, but you need some assistance from somebody else or from your community or from your friends. Well, one Iq is kind of like a day to put the idea out there, maybe get some feedback on how you're going to communicate it, what words you're going to choose, what you're going to use. And as the beginning of the change, now Iq can be obviously wild and windy day, and we're in an Iq year, lots of changes, strong voices coming out and that kind of thing. But one Iq can be the gentle day to start introducing the words that you have to say later on. So after one Ik comes two Akabal, the dawning, the morning. It can also represent the dusk. It's really the twilight. It's the time between worlds. It's about bringing in new concepts. It's very much connected with conception. And we see the number two, which can represent duality. It can also represent lovers and can represent relationships. And so perhaps during this time, going down the relationship route, it's about the dawning of a new relationship or something like that. And two, Akabal could be very much seen as a rather romantic day, as they say. But there's more to it, of course, than that. Akabal, again, bringing those new concepts into the world, and duality, light and darkness. Akabal often seen as being taking something out of the dark and bringing it into the light. Once again, there's that beginnings idea around it. And so maybe there is something, maybe those words during this Trecena are something you've been holding within you, holding within kind of like in, well, I mean, when I say the dark space, I don't mean it quite like as it might be taken, but more like inside, hidden. And Akabal gives us the opportunity to bring things into the light. Now, maybe it's something that you need to bring into the light with regards to your relationship. Or maybe it's something, not necessarily a deeply held secret, but something you've been thinking about, ruminating on for some time. To Akabal brings us the opportunity to bring that concept into the light. Once again, this could be a new announcement, this could be a new project, a new plan, a dream that you've had for a while, that you want to then turn into a concept, that you want to bring into the light. And Tu Akabal is a great day to do that. It could also be very much a day with that duality, to see kind of the stark contrast between what concepts you want to bring in and what concepts that you want to leave in the dark. From Tu Akabal, we're then going to go into 3 Cat. So, once again, the number 3 representing the home place, the number 3 representing the inner world, and perhaps this could also be, again, it's an introspective day. And cat representing your net, your carrying net. Now, it can obviously represent your harvest because we gather all of our produce, our lemons, our avocados, we're gathering them into the net and they are our abundance. But cat, as I may have said many times before, is a great day to have a sort out, to kind of like recognize what you are carrying in your personal net and say, this is useful and I wish to take it forward. This was once very precious to me, but no longer serves a purpose in my life or what I want to take forward. As I said, in this Trecena, it can be about changes. So this 3 Cat day is looking inside of yourself and seeing what can assist your change and maybe what you're bound to, what is holding you back, what are the constraints that you may have put upon yourself, because it's 3, it's looking inside. It's not talking about external constraints, it's about looking at the ones that you hold in your heart and saying, this is no longer relevant. My life has passed through this stage. I can now release it with gratitude so that I can make more space in my net for whatever it might be to come in. But as I say, this 3 Cat day could very much be this day of kind of like almost, well, I was going to say sort of like soul searching to see, right, what attachments, mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual, are really not something that I want to hold on to for much longer. Maybe there's something which are stifling the changes that I could go through or the communication that I could put out there through some attachment that I held in the past. From 3 Cat, we're then going to go into 4 Can. Now, Can, the wisdom, the power, our life force energy. And the number 4, representing this physical material plane, this is very much about grounding your wisdom. Okay, it's a great day to get your wisdom out into the physical world. As I say, this is a day of communication. So why not write down your wisdom? Why not get it out there in some way? Communicate it in some way, right? And this is solid, practical stuff. Okay? Can also represent our teachers and our teaching ability. Can, in its brightest form, the sharing of wisdom to empower those around us. And this is a day to really get it into physical form. So once again, if there was something that you were wanting to teach, maybe this is a great day to be writing it down. We're still in the preparatory phase of it, sorry. Kind of like this is this is the beginning of the communication. But maybe there's a class that you've been wanting to teach. Maybe there's something that you want to get out there, your wisdom. Well, 4can is a great day to be maybe writing it down, preparing how you're going to share that physically into the world. It's also a day, and we're talking about power, we're talking about life force energy, to really put that into practical use in the world around you. Use what power you have, use what wisdom you have to make a change in the material world. From 4can, we're then going to go into 5 Kameh. So Kameh, once again, changes. Kameh facing our fears. Now, when we're getting that new communication out there, as we've all done, right? Sometimes we've got some trepidation about it. Sometimes we're not sure quite how it's going to go. Do I really want to say this? What fears am I facing by expressing or allowing that communication to come out? Now, hopefully on 4can you consolidated your wisdom, and so you got your words right, or whatever it might be. And then on 5 Kameh, this is a time to put our energy into facing our fears. The number 5 representing work, the application of energy to a system. In this case, the system is overcoming our fears so that we can evolve, because Kameh takes us through that process of, well, in particular, soul evolution. I like to call Kameh the soul alchemist. This is one of the aspects that we could be looking at. When we face our fears, of course we're going to have to put energy into that. But on this day, on 5 Kameh, this is really right. Okay, you might have to dig a little deeper. You might have to go that extra mile, because sometimes, when you're facing that wall, as it might feel, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, you got to search for that energy to overcome it. Now, Kameh also representing the ancestors, of course. This could well be seen as calling on your ancestors. Say, right, okay, people, I need a little bit of extra help here. I'm putting my work in. Can I call on you to help me to overcome my fears and get this communication out there? From 5 Kameh, we're then going to go into 6 Kirch. So Kirch, the greenness, the wilderness, the mountain place, the connection to the animals. 6 Kirch, also representing the stability. The 6, like the evolution of the 4, taking the physical but connecting the upper and lower worlds, connecting the divine masculine and the divine feminine into that stability. Can also represent family. Now, 6 Kirch, well, we had a 6 Kirch year a few years ago, and we could see it as representing strength and stability. Kirch can also represent spiritual leadership in particular, because the spiritual leaders draw their power from the mountains, from the trees, from the natural world. When I say power, it's also their wisdom, right? This is where we go to go and meditate in nature, to go and tune into our natural state and understand how we can help to lead others, how we can help to meditate with others, how we can help to bring stability to our world and the world of others. And so for 6 Kirch, I'd always say that Kech is a great day to get out into the park, into the wilderness, wherever it might be. Get your feet on the grass, tune into your natural state and tune into the nature around you and see what answers come. Because again, in this Trecena of communication, it may well be that the stability that you need for the changes, because kind of like we want to change, but we want to have a stable base to do it from. If you're looking for inspiration on 6 Kech, then nature is the place to find it. From 6 Kech, we're then going into 7 Anil. Anil, the ripening. Anil, the goldening. Anil, the harvest in some ways. Taking us to our potential, taking our crops, our gardens, to their maximum potential. And the number 7, the pinnacle, the peak of the pyramid, the peak of the mountain, coming to finality. It's the end of the harvest. 7 Anil is a great day to be finalizing whatever you're trying to bring to fruition. So again, we're communicating in this Ik Trecena. We're changing in this Ik Trecena. I like to see the 7 as the journey to the top of the pyramid, when we might be able to see just how far we've come. We can also see how ripe we've become through our journey. And so, if we saw it as this bright light on top of the pyramid, it also shows us our path ahead, because when you're standing on that high place, you can see where you want to go afterwards. So, as closing of a cycle, it can certainly be right. Okay, I have achieved this. I have reached the pinnacle of ripeness with whatever it might be. And now I'm looking to which is my path forward in order to continue to mature and to ripen. Which is my path to the next high potential place. Where's the next pyramid? Where's the next mountain that I'm going to be standing on? What are my targets and my goals? And so it can be the end of one cycle, but very much seeing where we're going for the next cycle. From 7 Anil, we then move to 8 Toch. So Toch representing the sacred fire, Toch representing offering, giving, and sacrifice. 8 Toch, literally the ceremonial day of giving, or the day of the sacred fire. Now, I understand that where you live, what you're doing, maybe you can't have a sacred fire, or maybe it's not in alignment for you, however it might be. But 8 Toch is really, we just received in 7 Anil the pinnacle of ripeness. We've achieved our goal. Now, 8 Toch gives us the opportunity to give back, to tithe a little of our harvest, to give it in whatever way, whether it's to people who are less fortunate than us, or to give thanks to the universe, how, whatever it might be in your world. It's a day to light a candle and say thank you. It's a day to give a little bit of your harvest of what you've achieved. Again, in this time of communication and change, it's like if we want to change the world, then sharing has to be part of it. And whether you choose to share with Odin or any of the other projects around here, or where you are, to give a little back on a Toch day is something which can help us with our health, is something that we can help with the health of the community in general and our world. So 8 Toch is a great opportunity to give, so that we are in balance in what could be a rather windy Trecena, and what could be a time of change. From 8 Toch, we're then going into 9 Tz'i. So Tz'i, the Nawal of faith and loyalty and justice and law. The Nawal of guidance. Tz'i, also the Nawal of vices. I was talking about times of change in this Ik Trecena. And maybe there are some things in your life that aren't particularly healthy for you. We're all doing our work. We've all come a certain distance, and there's still bits, we're constantly polishing, right? We're constantly getting better, a little better every day, as it were. And 9Tz'i may also be focused on the vices in our lives and saying, right, okay, in this time of change, in this time of the breath of fresh air, what can we see to drop out of our life so that we can enhance our life? It's a great day for guidance. And, part of it is, with this, as I said, the one Iq, the Iq Trecena, being about a new communication. Well, sometimes as well, with that little bit of nervousness, is it going to go right? Am I going to get my words right? And all that kind of thing. Well, 9Tz'i can be a great day to ask for guidance, to bring you faith in those changes, to bring you loyalty to life itself. And so 9Tz'i would be a great day to be kind of like asking for some guidance on that. Now the 9 as well, representing the feminine, representing women. And so, of course, it would be a wonderful day to go get guidance from the women in your community in particular on maybe how to overcome your vices, or maybe on where your life path is going. From 9Tz'i, we then move into 10 bats. So 10 bats. Bats, creator. Bats, the weaver, the artist, the artisan. And the number 10 representing community and cooperation. Well, what better day could there be to go out and share beauty with your community? To go and get involved in some kind of community art project? To weave what you have, this communication, as I say before, bats is the weaver, but we could see everything as weaving. All creativity could be seen as weaving. People weave words, musicians weave notes, dancers weave shapes. All is weaving. What do you choose to weave? What do you choose to create? What threads are you bringing together to communicate what's inside of you out there? Now, on a Bats Day, it's like we kind of like receive a little bit extra of that creative essence. Everything is in alignment to create. I like to see it as our creative essence being aligned with our purpose. And so on 10 bats, once again, it's time to share that. It's time to get it out to the community. It's time to work with the community as well. I bring this, you bring that, they bring whatever. And we weave it together to create greater harmony, to create greater beauty in our world. From 10 bats, we're then going into 11 Now, the path, the road, and the number 11, which is a high number, it's an odd number, it can have some interesting properties. You might not necessarily know where you're going on an day, or rather on an 11 day, simply because it's going to take you in many different directions, and those directions, I like to see the number 11 as very non-linear. It doesn't choose a single direction, it doesn't choose a single point, and it turns regularly. And so you may be going in one direction, and then you may be going in a completely different direction. And some could see that as chaos. But it's about the meandering path. You don't know exactly where it's going. But when you stay on the straight line, on the path that you've always trodden, then there is little discovery to be had on that path. It brings the opportunity to really think outside the box. That's what the 11 does. That's how it brings creativity into the world, because it takes us on journeys. It takes us to places we haven't necessarily been before, where we can receive new experiences that is always looking for. So it's certainly a day where we take the meandering path. We don't take the same route that we've always taken. We take a few different turns to what we might take normally, because that's where we get our new creativity. That's, in this Trecena of change, in this Trecena of creation, of communication, going on the road less traveled, as it were, is something which brings us those experiences that we're looking for. Because, as I said, the experiences that come to life from our journeys of whatever kind they might be, they've got to be fresh. That's what brings the change. That's what brings us new understanding, new creativity. From 11 we're then going into 12 ach. Now, ach relating to the home, ach relating to the family, ach relating to harmony in the community. Ach, as my teacher says, relating to the spinal column, it's time to stand up, to be brave, to be strong, to say what needs saying, to do what needs doing in order to keep our harmony in community, in order to keep our family and our home in balance. And sometimes those words aren't easy. Sometimes those actions might not necessarily be popular, but that's what's required in order to keep everything in balance. Ach being a day of leadership is something where we got to step up. It's time to make a difference. In the Ik Trecena, the communication, so this could certainly be maybe something either written or verbal that you need to do to keep balance in your community or your family or your home. But additionally, that number 12 representing all of life's experiences. Each one of us brings unique experiences, unique knowledge, unique understanding to our situation. The 12 ach is asking us to draw on the experiences, the life experience that we have, in order to use it to bring harmony to our community or our home. And so once again, maybe it's something you've been wanting to say for a while, maybe it's something you've been wanting to get out for a while. The Ik Trecena saying time of communication, and 12 ach saying use and communicate your life experiences so we can make the world a more harmonious place. Be brave, stand up strong, because that 12 also is a strong number, it's an even number, so it has a certain stability to it. And it's saying, you have the strength. Communicate your ideas, communicate your experience for a better world, as it were. And then finally, we're going to end the Ik Trecena on 13 Ish. So Ish, representing, the sacred places, the Mother Earth. Up there behind me, there's a very old altar up there, very special altar. An altar which actually looks kind of like, when you see it from a distance, you could almost see it as a jaguar's ear, And this is the ear of Mother Earth. This is where we make our ceremonies in order to communicate with Mother Earth. And Mother Earth brings us all of this, all of our bounty, everything that keeps us alive, whether it's the lemons from that tree, the avocados from that tree, the oxygen that all of this puts out keeps us alive. This is a gift of Mother Earth. Ish also representing our magic, representing the sacred that's within us, our ability to communicate. I like to see Ish, I had this idea about it being like the conductor of the orchestra. It's not playing the music, but it's organizing the musicians to play in the correct order to make the beautiful tune. Ish is about reconnecting with that sacred inside of us and connecting that sacred with the sacred of the earth. It's recognizing the magic that each and every one of us holds and what that can bring into our lives. And here we see it connected with the 13. We see it connected with the ancestors. We see it connected with spirit. And so when we put those two together, 13 Ish is a very, very powerful day. In this time of communication in the Iq Trecena, we can certainly see that 13 Ish could very much be about kind of like using our words, just our words, to create in alignment with Mother Earth, receiving the messages about the sacred nature of Mother Earth, how to care for her, how to look after her, and also seeing how we can use our voices to connect with her. 13 Ish can be a very, very strong day for anything that you're doing. And when we see Ish as that magical ability, as it were, we have to be, let's say, we want to get our words right on 13 Ish, because there's just a chance that what we're speaking, we're creating on 13 Ish, and that creation may come very quickly. Now, I have a strong belief in the creation through the word. Our word patterns, our languaging very much creates the reality that we are experiencing. And on 13 Ish, this is really turned up. It's like Mother Earth is listening, Spirit is listening, the ancestors are listening. And with that Ish creativity, with that Ish magic, it may be a very, very important day to be very aware of the words that you're using. Are you using positive language? Are you using negative language? Are you focusing on negative in your life or positive in your life? Because what you're focusing on 13 Ish may well very easily get created into your world. So whatever you're talking about, you're possibly going to get more of. And so to finish this time of change, to finish this time of inspiration, to finish this time of communication, we are ending on a day which is saying, okay, like Spirit and Mother Earth are listening. What do you wish to create into your world? How do you wish to verbalize it? Ish may well bring it to you. Mother Earth will come up with whatever you ask for. So maybe be aware of what you're asking for. So, thank you for listening once again. I hope that this serves you well. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation, this chat, this whatever it is. And I look forward to seeing you again in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Tz'i. Thank you.